Welcome back to I'm an Asset podcast. I am your co-host, Dr. Breanne Smith.
And I'm your other co-host, Zachary Wilson. Today we have a bit of a topic that goes back to, at the beginning of the podcast, we talked about how we would be doing, stuff I'm figuring out and questions I have, which is why we've been talking about some finance and economy and personal capital stuff. But today we're going to be talking a bit more about some of my experiences, because today we're talking about firsts and lasts.
Nostalgic.
Because as with any major transition, I would consider the high school to college a major transition. There's always going to be some things you leave behind, but along with that, some new things you experience at the same time. So we're just going to talk about that.
Which I would like to bring up a little bit of beef with you, because this has just reminded me when you said first and last, and I just heard this topic just a minute ago, but I did not get a last first day of school picture of you.
You didn't?
This year, which I wanted to do, but I looked up and you were just already gone.
Yeah,
to school.
I was getting down to business on the first day. I was getting back at it. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't think about that, because you wanted to, do the cute picture when I'm 4 and show the transition. But I'd still look the same the second day, and you could.
Yeah, we might have to recreate
We could just
it.
find some picture and say it was my first day.
Your last 150th day or whatever it is. Yes.
And that's, with you saying that, that's the reality. Is every day is the oldest you've ever been, but the youngest you'll ever be. So that's kind of the concept we're talking about today. We've already kind of gotten into it throughout this podcast series, because we talked about the college fairs and the college application process and some other things. But there's also like Halloween. Like, I just had my last Halloween as in high school.
Your last it's actually your first adult Halloween.
First adult Halloween, but last high school Halloween. Yeah.
And can I just say, you killed it, because you had 2 costumes this year, because you had 2 functions to go to. And the big reveal was like when you were in the costume. I didn't help you at all.
I totally came up with it on the spot. I did not buy anything. I didn't want to buy anything. So, there wasn't any order in from the mail or, yeah, I kind of just, I had some of her help, when making, but I was proud of the costumes I had.
They look good.
In previous years, I haven't been, so it's kind of made up for it.
In this YouTube video, you'll have to flash some pictures of you in costume. I did get pictures of you.
I have a couple pictures.
Good.
From each one. Let me think about another first. Let's see. So I had first day of school. First time I've ever been. First time voting. That happened yesterday. That is the timeline of events. So yeah, my sister, although she's 3 years older than me, she had her first time voting yesterday too, just because of how the time, the cycle kind of lined up. So that was really interesting. I was she was going to go with us, but she already went earlier the day. So it was just my sister and I, and we didn't know what we were doing. But, so it was kind of, how do I say this? It was daunting. Once we were in there, but it's pretty simple. So my advice to anyone who's in a similar situation watching this 4 years later and you're about to vote for the first time, it's a lot simpler than you think it is. So just, kind of don't overthink it.
That's interesting that you say it was simple, because the process of voting was quite simple. But I would say it's not necessarily as simple to select maybe who or what you're going to vote for. That's an ongoing process leading up to the voting process. So I think, a lot of conversations were had prior to that, a lot of discussions, issues, topics. And then just walking in and putting the bubbles on a piece of paper, that wasn't so bad.
this isn't really super related to the topic of today, but I will say, as if we're talking about firsts, when a lot of the why can't I say that word? A lot of the firsts you experience are going to be new responsibilities that you've never had before. And one of them being voting, I'd say, is a responsibility of a citizen living in a country.
And you're right.
Yeah. And I would exercise that right responsibly. So I wouldn't just, do willy-nilly. Kind of put a little bit of a thought into what you're doing. But as the Traveler's Gift said, doing nothing is a choice too. But that concept can apply to anything we're talking about. So
cool.
Maybe we could talk about a last now. So I just talked about my last Halloween. Upcoming is my last Christmas. So that's the last, spending the holidays in my hometown, because who knows where I'll be after college. I'll probably, because, I'll be, I'll come back to your house for Christmas probably for a little bit.
That's what I was about to say. Are you not planning to come home for Christmas?
But it's not like I'm going to be here and doing all the Christmas activities I normally locally do.
What? Why not?
Because I'll be in college.
Yes. Well, I think this is a good thing to talk about. So you're starting to kind of think about, this is the last time I'll experience this holiday as a child living at home. And every holiday from now until you leave for college perhaps will feel that way.
Yeah.
However, you're not going to be too far away, and you can always come home. And for a Christmas holiday, you're going to get out of school like the first week of December. So you'll have time off to come home. You'll have time off to come home. You will.
Yeah, I definitely will. And I will be able to do a lot of the same things that I have been doing my whole life. But, seeing all the local events and everything I used to do when I'm speaking like this, I'm in the future. When I was here, I won't be able to do, because I just won't be here all the time, so I have to do a little more planning and kind of get information from people who are still here. But I can still do all that stuff. Obviously, as you get older, there's some stuff you can't do, like jump around in a playhouse, unless you're my brother, which he did do recently.
Yeah.
He's turning 17 today, so happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, Michael.
So what's another last? Let me think. We took senior pictures. That was my first time taking senior pictures, but I guess the last time I'll be...
Last, school yearbook kind of picture. Yeah, and those were unique. But, if you are in any kind of organization, or periodically we'll have to get profile pictures taken for the website for the, for us. 'Cause
I don't doubt my picture will never be taken again. But, it's kind of all leading up to the ultimate last year of high school. And I'm listing off these examples, and I wanted to talk about this today because I think that can be a little overwhelming, or even just because I'm sentimental.
Is it a little sad? Yeah. Okay.
It has been super sad for me, as some people really cling to high school, and I'm kind of ready to move on. But with how sentimental I am, I am recognizing that this is
it.
My last October in high school is just past,
Yeah. But aren't we so glad there was a last ACT exam?
I might do another one. I don't know.
What?
I don't think I will, though, because I don't think there's any additional benefits, even if I get a higher score.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of made that decision because I was going to study and do another one this past October, but we decided, or I decided, that it really gave no benefit. Some This is situational, circumstantial. It's a better word. Because some colleges might scale how the ACT works, but for the colleges I was applying for, there was a range. So this is just how Alabama works. Like a 30 to a 32. No, I'm sorry. A 30 and higher is like this scholarship. And there's not a scholarship higher than that unless you get a 36. And that's a perfect score. And I don't think that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So it was like, unless I'm going to get a 36, there's not really a point in getting a 33, 34, 35, right? So I just decided that, that's the highest I can get,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's good because you clearly have other things to be working on. Like you have a lot of other things that you want to do this year that
definitely
could have your attention.
And I'm glad that was the last. Do not like the ACT, but I still have more exams coming up. Mm-hmm. And even when I get to college exams, and I get to grad school exams, there's always going to be something like that. But
yeah. Well, I think this is you're my middle child.
Yes.
So with you, this being your senior year, it's not my first time having a senior. However, you are my first son being a senior, which I'm going to have to tell you is way different than your sister's senior year.
Really? How so?
Because your sister's senior year, there were a lot of functions for her to be at all the time, like parties where they paint things and decorate their cars or decorate their school uniforms on a certain day and wear those painted to school on the last week of school, or they just seem to have parties all the time.
Yeah.
And the boys don't seem to do that like the girls did.
I don't know. There's been a lot of functions. Like we had a lake day, we had a paint war. That was kind of the grade. But yeah, I think typically the girls are better at organizing
Partying.
functions.
Oh yeah, the girls are. Yeah.
Partying. You don't tell your boss you were partying. You tell your boss you were organizing functions.
Yes. So it's different in that regard, is that your sister seemed covered up in social functions her senior year, but you seem to be more covered up in scholarship applications. And
I think that just varies from person to person, not necessarily because she was a girl and I was a guy, but I do agree that she had a lot, like girls typically have more events they go to.
Yeah. And you're not my last senior.
Yeah.
Because Michael is right behind you.
Well, yeah. He'll graduate. Yeah. I'm just he doesn't watch these, so.
And so you also have club soccer that you're in right now. So this, yes, I suppose, is your last club soccer season. You're about to begin your last Trinity soccer season for school in the spring.
I actually sprained my ankle. So the regional kind of area tournament, we call it the State Cup. That's how ours is called. I didn't get to go to that. And
they needed you, man. Like it was really obvious you weren't on the field.
That kind of sucks, but there's nothing I can do. So I'm just
you just plowing over everybody at the, on the front line and putting it in the goal. But
there's still a couple tournaments I can go to for that. Mm-hmm. So
and then you had your last tryouts for Trinity soccer,
which is really just our coach was like, most of this for the seniors. Most of the seniors have already been on that team for many years, and it's like, if you got it here last year and you're getting older, you're just getting stronger and faster. Like, how are you not gonna make the team? Mm-hmm. So
did you make the team? I didn't even look. Did he post it?
Oh gosh, I hope so. So the seniors kind of have like a more of a role model role to play rather than like actually trying out. Which you see that in a lot of things, not just soccer tryouts, but that is definitely I remember when the seniors not last year, the year before that, because our soccer team didn't actually have any seniors last year. But the year before that, when I was a sophomore, I remember watching the seniors then who had played the last game. And some of them were like crying on the field. Like it was a very emotional moment.
Yeah.
Because I've played soccer my whole life. I've been playing it year round. That's kind of always what I do.
Yeah.
So it's become a large part of my identity. And so it probably will be emotional since I'm not playing in college. To my knowledge, I might do intramural, but that's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be anything like it was in high school anyway.
Yeah.
So, knowing that that's the last time you're ever going to have anything like that is a little
emotional. I can see that, your sister had a similar circumstance in that she has been in ballet her whole life and did ballet in school her whole life and did, a ballet training every day at school her whole career, and then went off to college and doesn't do it at all. And she has said multiple times she misses it because that's just like a piece of your normal day that you're used to. So there are, I would say, opportunities to have, a team sport or participation in college. If it's really that important to you, you can find a place to do it.
Yeah. I'll definitely consider it while I'm there. So let's see. I did have some questions up here. We already answered those. I said, one question, how should we react to this? So what I meant in this context was the idea of, we're talking about how emotional this stuff is and how, a lot of this stuff is the last time you're ever doing it, but there's also some new stuff. Like, is this a good thing? Is this something we should be sad about? What do you think? I'll just ask.
Oh, this is a really good topic, Zachary, because I think, as a parent of seeing your child also kind of grow into adulthood, it's also really hard for us to watch it happen and say, oh, it's kind of this, especially the last 2 years, kind of it felt like this little slow goodbye to you becoming an adult, because every year I see less and less of you. And which is a good thing. I've already told you can't live at home after you graduate from college. You're going to have to get a job or continue to work with us and, get your own place and your own family and all that and grow up. And, to me, that's really a parent's desire, is to see you blossom. But it's still, it is normal and good to remember the good, when you were little. And we've been looking at this 5-year-old picture of you this week that we pulled up, and just, oh my gosh, like child model, and you were just so cute and small.
Appreciate it.
And I think you should also flash that picture up on this YouTube channel too.
I might.
Just so everybody can see what you look like when you were 5. But it's just part of life. We're not going to stay in the same place forever, and you shouldn't be staying in the same place. And so going through different seasons of your life is not only normal, but it's good. And so that is an indicator that you're growing, and growing is good.
I like your perspective. And, it hadn't occurred to me that these are not only first and last I'm experiencing, but last you're experiencing as well, because soon this will be the last time you see me, and then I'm never going back.
That's not the case. I'll have to have some kind of something to get you to go.
I'm just kidding. I'm going to come back for Christmas and Thanksgiving and all this stuff. Anytime I got a weekend, I want to see the family.
Yeah. And I think that too, it's also really exciting as we say, goodbye to your youth years in school and getting ready for adulthood, there's also a lot of things I'm looking forward to as you grow up. I'm looking forward to having a family, having grandchildren, getting to see you in your professional career and just blossom that way. So those are things that are exciting to think about.
Yeah. So there's constantly a bunch of firsts and lasts as you go throughout life. And I like the way you put it, where you're growing, you know, and that it's natural. I'm gonna give a little bit more of a comment on the aspect of like how you should feel in the moment, or not how you should. This is just the way I look at it, but obviously anyone's entitled to do however they feel, and everyone's different. So because I'm more sentimental, I'm gonna react differently to my last soccer game, for instance, than someone else. But I would say one thing I heard one time from a TV show was someone was talking about if your leg was going to be chopped off tomorrow, if you knew your leg was going to be chopped off tomorrow, would you sit around and sulk about it? Or would you run around and do awesome leg kicks, you know? So I thought about that because, you know, I am sentimental. I do recognize that, you know, some of the stuff I'm doing is the last time I'm doing it. And obviously I want it to be special, but I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to savor it while it does last. And I'm not going to cry about it, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's normal to be sad that this is the last time, because that's a good indicator that you've had a good childhood.
Yeah.
But I also think that, that as you move forward and you experience that being grateful for being able to do what you do, I think that's a good example that you just gave about the leg, and just participating this year in everything that you can participate. And if you have the availability and the opportunity, then go. Even if maybe you didn't go last year, you don't normally go, maybe go and experience and participate like you did the Halloween party. The 2 Halloween parties that you went to, you dressed up like, you know, really, really 2 good costumes, and you had a good time and you participated. And I think you will be glad you did when you look back, that you did all the things that you wanted to do, and you participated and you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And you had fun.
There's a school play. I know that. I don't know if I'm going to do that though.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because it goes on the same time as soccer, so there'd probably be a lot of... But typically all the seniors do the school play. It's kind of like what you do.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So, well, then there's a lot of seniors on the soccer team, so y'all will figure it out.
Hope so. There's also a lot of seniors, and we have a larger class compared to what is typically the size of classes in our school. And so I don't know, it might be a really big play this year. Very difficult for the production team.
Well, one of your goals in life is to do some kind of voice acting or acting, and this is the time to try it out. Low stakes school play.
Yeah, I haven't talked about this on camera, but especially with this setup, I could definitely start some voice acting jobs. Which I don't know, that kind of connects with the acting.
Yeah.
In the play.
I think you'd be good at it. I did a little acting in high school. I did musicals in high school, and I was in one of the dance groups, and so we did some of the dance and choreography of the musicals too. And I've never done anything like that as an adult, and I didn't really do anything like that in college, but I did a lot of it in high school, and it was just really cool to have that experience.
I'd say the closest thing I've done to it is either this or, and I say that because it's like being on camera, or like, you know, you're being watched is kind of the acting, and this is like the connection I can find. But I used to do sports broadcasting, and that's kind of, well, that's more of the production side of things. But I did get to sit in the chair at times and, you know, do like sports weekly reports and stuff like that. And it's like you're the anchor.
Yeah.
And you're kind of giving a rundown of the events that's kind of like acting, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
You're not like fulfilling a role per se, but you are like, it's almost like a performance on camera.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do everything right, you know, because people are watching you.
Yeah. Well, and this is also, I think, a good practice for any kind of experience like that you might want to do. Talking into a microphone.
Yeah. This is a good setup. So
the best, yes.
It wouldn't be like I'd have to invest a ton to start.
This is true.
So I have one little thing I wrote down here that we could end on, which is don't dwell too long in the past. Live each day as if it's your last, for it very well could be. And I wanted to end with that because that's kind of the moral I was alluding to earlier with the leg.
Yeah. It's a good thought.
You know, if you just dwell too long, you know, you're not going to be able to enjoy what you do have. So go ahead and live it out. That's not YOLO though. YOLO was a
there's a really good book, and I can't think of the name of the book right now, but it's by Eckhart Tolle, and he talks about how the only moments you ever have are the ones that you're experiencing right this second, and everything that has ever happened in your life has happened in the moment, but now that moment's gone, and anything that's ever going to happen in the future will only happen in the present. So always focus on the present moment, because that's really what you have control over, and not be focusing on what happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future, but like live each moment to its fullest.
Yeah, I like that. I say don't dwell too long in the past. I didn't say outright don't dwell in the past, because that present moment you're talking about, the decisions you're making in that present moment are a coalition of all the experiences and decisions you've had and made in your past self has done. So it certainly is going to affect your present. But I say don't dwell too long, because if you do focus too much on the things you've done instead of moving forward, then you're going to run into issues.
Yeah, there's a really great communications professor in Canada named Husan Moon, Dr. Moon, and she came and spoke at one of the financial planning conferences that I went to at the PFP Financial Planning Summit given by the AICPA. It's every January, and it's been the most memorable talk that she gave, where she talked about something that you were just talking about. She created this quadrant of what we think about and talk about, and there are 4 quadrants. One quadrant being what we want to happen in the future. Quadrant 2 being what a positive experience in the past. Quadrant 3 being a troubled past, thinking about a troubled past. And quadrant 4 being a future we don't want. And she said most people are stuck in their thinking and talking about quadrant 4, which is what they don't want in the future, and where we need to try to focus our thoughts and our listening in our talking to people is in the quadrant 1, which is what we can focus on in the future that we do want to happen.
I like that. Yeah, I can't say anything I can't add on to. I'm gonna cut this part out. So that was an awkward pause.
Well, what I really like about what she said is when you see it on a piece of paper like that, where she drew it out in 2 lines and 4 quadrants, and you hear people talk, like clients or students or friends, people really do spend a lot of time talking about what they don't want to happen in their life, instead of what they do want to happen or what they have control over right now.
Okay, I think I'm just having a little trouble responding to this because I don't really do this. I kind of, I think it's because I'm very accountable. I was looking for the right word. And so in that sense, I'm responsible. I recognize that I'm responsible for my outcomes. So I don't really think about, if there was a hypothetical situation where something ended up the way I didn't want it to be, it would be because of myself. So all I have to do is strive for the things I do want. So I haven't really done what you're saying. But I have heard other people do that.
Yeah, when you listen to people talk, particularly, friends, clients, family, where are they hanging out in their talking? Like, we're especially like thinking about what's going to happen with the election. People talk really harboring over, worried about what's going to happen with that, or thinking about their finances and worried about the future or whatever. But turning that conversation and thought process more to what we want to happen, not what we don't want to happen.
All right, yeah, because you just got to believe and have confidence and courage.
It's not only like a belief thing, but you have to be very intentional about your thoughts and words.
I like that. Because when you're intentional, you can start making decisions. All right, well.
This was a really good thought. It's got me kind of sad about your senior year.
That was...
but also excited.
It's kind of the elephant in the room. I thought we'd talk about it. So...
Very good.
We have, and we might not come back to this particular topic, but as we go through the series, this is a year long, the rest of my senior year, we will encounter more firsts and more lasts, and we'll talk about them along the way.
Sounds good.
So thank you for joining us, guys. And gals, I do have this mug here with me, so does she. This is just an example of our merch. I'm not sure if we have shown it on here before. I think you have, haven't you?
I'm not sure if we have, yeah.
So just wanted to let you know that it is real. And you can check it out at I'mAnAssetPodcast.com. And you can even message us if you have any suggestions or if you want to
ask a question.
Yeah. Or if you comment on any of the platforms that you are able to comment. I do read through everything. So
thanks for your support.
We'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you next time.